Welcome gamers all across the galaxy. Today we got two kit reveals for ships, big ship day, the one and only. We got the Hyena Bomber as well as the BTLB Y-Wing Starfighter, or just more popularly known as the Y-Wing, is coming to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Now before we do the kit reveal for these two brand new ships in the game, a couple things that are important. First off, the Hyena Bomber is going to be a Galactic Chase character. Yesterday, they announced on the forums, originally they said November 6th would be the release date, which gave a lot of people a lot of preparation time, but instead they moved it to November 1st. They changed it sometime earlier today or late last night. Basically, in case you are new or you don't remember what a Galactic Chase is, because we've only had one, maybe two Galactic Chases at the very most. Basically, as we're seeing right here, you're going to get Hyena Bomber blueprints as bonus rewards on all Cantina nodes for a limited time. So while you're doing your normal Cantina farming, you're also going to get shards for the Hyena Bomber. So I would guess for probably about a week, they're going to let you get these shards for the Hyena Bomber for a week or so. And what I said earlier, if you guys didn't watch my stream, I told you guys that to prepare for Galactic Chase events, you got to hoard. What's this game called? It's called Galaxy of Hoarders. You have to hoard and manage your resources to a higher degree than ever before. So I've been stocking up on my Cantina energy, been refreshing, building up that energy so I can try to unlock the Hyena Bomber free to play, because it seems like it's going to be a very important component to the Separatist ships, as we're going to kind of see today. And the Y-Wing is going to be a marquee ship, and oddly enough, they decided not to include any pilot whatsoever. I think it's a fantastic idea. One of the biggest problems of ships is the pilot requirement. That's one reason why people don't want to dig as much as into ships, because you have to gear up certain characters. Not the characters aren't amazing all the time. The developers said themselves, although it's not kind of lore to have a pilotless Y-Wing, they could have easily picked someone like Echo to fill in the spot for the pilot. They just decided to just make it easier to unlock by not requiring crew members from your collection. I hope they do this going forward. I think the pilot thing was the worst thing they can do. Unfortunately, they can't roll it back because people intentionally spent money and geared up bad characters just to use their ships. So maybe going forward, they'll require less and less pilots for ships, which I think is what they should do. But I don't think they're going to revert the ships we've already had in the past to make them pilotless. So while you guys are hoarding all your resources for the Hyena Bomber's release coming out on November 1st, let's go ahead and just do a kit reveal overview for this ship. Both this and the Y-Wing, they're both supposed to be taunting characters for the Galactic Republic and the Separatists respectively with their fleet. And as they're saying, as we'll check later on, the Hyena Bomber is just another element building up to what they're hoping to be a full Separatist fleet soon. They said we're not done yet, so probably expect more droid ships. We can talk towards the end what other droid ships or Separatist ships they could be adding. But I want to start right here. This unique ability is kind of important. It kind of highlights the importance of the ship for the Separatist lineup, because right now we don't have a taunting Separatist droid. The only taunting Separatist ship we have is Sun Fac's ship, and as you see here, the unique ability, he can ignore taunt and has plus 50% defense for each Separatist ally and 10% tenacity for each droid ally. And this guy can also taunt for one turn when you max out this ability whenever an enemy gains a buzz droid or an allied vulture droid falls below 50%. Now this unit is supposed to be very important for keeping the vulture droids alive as long as possible. And as we saw, Grievous's malevolence and they kind of tease it, the malevolence is supposed to be summoning vulture droids onto the field. So having this is going to be incredibly important to keeping the current vulture droid we have alive, as well as the summon mechanic that the malevolence will eventually have. And then whenever a Separatist ally is target locked, they gain critical hit immunity for 2 turns. So that's kind of helpful. Anti-critical hit, which should help against things like the Falcon, and even though the Negotiator has some pretty hard-hitting ships like Anakin Starfighter. And this might be a ship you keep in the reinforcements. I'm not sure yet. We have to wait till we get to malevolence, and it's kind of unfortunate. I don't know if this is going to be a very helpful ship for those without the malevolence. They said the Chimera in Home 1 is a good spot for it. We'll see. Separatist allies have plus 25% accuracy, and additionally they gain speed up and critical hit immunity for 2 turns. The critical hit immunity sounds nice. Again, we're gonna have to wait and see where this ship is gonna be placed. And the special ability right here, deal physical damage to all enemies and inflict buzz droids, which can't be resisted, and this attack ignores defense. So more buzz droid synergy. The vulture droid, if you remember, already spams a ton of buzz buzz droids, and now we're gonna get even more buzz droids. So hopefully it pairs well with the Discord missile that the Vulture droid is already going to be sending off. So you got to remember, a lot of these ships are going to be based on the Malevolence as well as the Vulture droid, two of the core mechanics for the upcoming Separatist fleet. And then lastly, basic, nothing too special. This deal physical damage to target enemy and dispel all debuffs on the weakest Separatist ally. Having that cleanse is going to be really important. So you're going to want to max out that last ability, or this last tier of this ability right here, because getting a cleanse just from a basic, and keep in mind things like the Vulture droid, I believe here already call, yeah, if you max this out, you get to call random droid ally to assist. And there are other Separatist ships that call assist as well. So having the Hyena Bomber use its basic and having a cleanse through the basic, it might be a bit more frequent than the passive cleansing that the Millennium Falcon has. Cleansing is one of the most powerful mechanics in the game, so keep your eyes peeled for this ability right here. Again, more Separatist ships to come, especially we need a lot of Separatist droid synergy, because right now we're looking for calling random droid allies to assist. So we're not there yet. They said they're going to be adding more, but they have to get there somehow. So they're slowly adding more ships over time. And luckily, because the Malevolence is a very end game ship, because it's Guild Event Token 2 currency, as we talked about in the video the other day, probably the Separatist fleet's probably not going to be something that a lot of people are going to be shooting for anytime soon. And then let's look at the Galactic Republic. Unlike the Separatists, there's a lot more firepower in the Galactic Republic faction. A lot of ships that are already solid. I have my Negotiator 5 stars, probably not going to start up anytime soon because I gotta star up the Malevolence. And with our pilotless Y-Wing, again, taunting ship for the Negotiators lineup. And I kind of wonder, this will replace the Clone Sergeant. Right now, it seems like the meta thing to do for most Negotiator lineups is have the Clone Sergeant be your first reinforcement, because when he calls himself in, he's always going to taunt when he has protection. And this guy is a tank, so he's going to have protection for quite a long time, and he has ways to regenerate protection. So I don't know. I mean, remember, you can't have really a full Galactic Republic lineup, all the reinforcement slots, I should say, until you have a 7-star Kenobi. So we'll have to see how we're going to work with the 5-star Kenobi right now. But let's look at the kit here. I like starting with the unique ability because that's kind of the most important component for ships for the most part. The Y-Wing has plus 15% max protection for each Galactic Republic ally, including reinforcements. That's what I'm trying to say. Not a lot of people have 7-star Kenobi negotiators, so you're going to be missing out on some extra max protection on this ship. And then the Y-Wing recovers 10% health whenever a Galactic Republic ally is critically hit by an enemy and taunts for 2 turns. Anytime Unending Loyalty's effect triggers an allied ship. I've been saying the Negotiator is pretty good. It feels like it's missing something to get over that edge to be a little bit more competitive than the Akbar fleet. This might be something to help out, because if he's going to recover 10% health whenever a Galactic Republic ally is critically hit, imagine mass AoE from the Falcon or something like that. Boom. 30, 40, 50% health regeneration for this unit right here. And it's going to taunt anytime Unending Loyalty's effect is triggered. Because one thing I've noticed is that, let's say Anakin loses Unending Loyalty because the Falcon hits hard. Sometimes Anakin just falls apart really quickly because no one's standing out for him unless you have the Clone Sergeant, but the Clone Sergeant can't do all the work. So this should help keep the fire off units like Anakin Starfighter, because you want that ship to last as long as possible. So this might help a bit more with the survivability of going up against the Akbar heavy damage fleet. And then when the Y-Wing is defeated, all Galactic Republic allies gain 30% counter chance for the rest of the battle. So very old Ben-like mechanic. You hurt me, and then my team becomes more powerful. Having Anakin Starfighter counterattack, that is disgusting. That ship hits over like 150,000 easily when you upgrade it all the way. Reinforcement, kind of again, I kind of like this one more than the Hyena Bomber. It's a bit more interesting. The Y-Wing taunts for 3 turns. That's a long time. Not as long as a Clone Sergeant, maybe. That depends on the situation. And he grants all allies retribution for 1 turn. So very attack heavy, or counter attack heavy. So again, I really want to see this be added, the retribution over to Anakin Starfighter, Ahsoka's Starfighter, those big hard-hitting ships, or even 5s. 5s can dispel on the basic. Retribution is going to be crazy powerful. So those AoEs might be pretty deadly from those AoE heavy teams. So this might be a ship that you want to have in the reinforcement slot. Probably maybe it's your first reinforcement or something like that, or second. This seems like it's going to be a way to help deal with those Houndstooth a bit better. Houndstooth is still sitting around. Talk about a ship that has literally been #1 for a long time. That ship was released, what is it, April 2018? fleet, and it's still one of the most used ships in the game right now. And I think this is going to, again, be another ship that counters that aspect of it, because you're going to deal damage to the target enemy and the weakest enemy and dispel all buffs on both of them. And here's what I'm thinking, especially in those negotiator mirror matches, I think this is going to be very helpful. You're going to be able to hit the taunting Houndstooth, let's say, and let's pretend that Anakin is the weakest ally on their team and hiding under stealth, and you're stuck behind the Houndstooth. Well, boom, you hit the Houndstooth, boom, you hit Anakin, dispel buffs on both of them, you win. I think this is going to be incredibly helpful for those negotiator mirror match. I mean, they could probably work to your detriment if you're using a negotiator up against another negotiator lineup, but I think for offensive purposes, it might help out a bit more. Then the Y-Wing taunts and gains protection up 50% for 2 turns, and this attack cannot be evaded. So even if you have foresight, you ain't getting away from this baby. And then the basic deal physical damage, and this attack deals 20% more damage for each ally with Valor. So I think the better thing about this here is that luckily the Valor mechanic is both a Mace Windu and Kenobi mechanic that kind of work a little bit differently because the Kenobi and Mace Windu has their own kit design. But the good thing about this, unlike the Hyena, if you don't have the negotiator, I can honestly see a lot of people making endurance work with the Y-Wing, and then all these other Galactic Republic ships are very free to play. This is really the only hardest ship to farm, and you kind of need it if you want to get General Skywalker at some point. So even if you don't have the negotiator, I can definitely see you taking a lot of advantage of this marquee ship. And remember, because it's a marquee event, you are guaranteed to unlock the ship at 3 stars or whatever it is. And kind of going back to our earlier conversation to wrap up this video, talking about the future of the Separatist fleet, because Malevolence is probably going to be crazy powerful, but it's going to take a long time before people start unlocking the capital ship for Grievous, and as well as all these Separatist units that we're still waiting on. But as we see here, we're probably going to see a few more of those flying around in the future, aka those pilotless droid ships, as they're kind of alluding to here. What's the best capital ship for a Hyena Bomber? Well, redacted. We know it's Grievous's Malevolence. They've already confirmed it the other day for the Guild Event Token 2 store for the release of Lightside Territory battles, but they say you can use it in Home 1 or the Chimera. Did they spell Chimera wrong? They did. Gary! And I think at least you probably could do a Chimera with Geonosians and the Separatist droids. You probably could do some sort of makeshift lineup. I don't think it's going to be as good as a full Galactic Republic team, but you could probably make something work if you really want to enjoy the Hyena and Vulture droid right now. And as they say right here, why add another Separatist ship without a full fleet or them to be part of? We have to start somewhere in order for the Separatist fleet, in order to have a Separatist fleet one day. So this is just the beginning. We're getting only 2 Separatist droids right now, and I'm going to let's just look for a couple ships right now. We're probably bound to see a lot more sometime down the road. So I mean, just a couple of examples. There's a lot of Separatist ships we can dip in. I'd be very surprised if we don't get the droid Tri-Fighter, probably one of the more iconic droid ships next to the Vulture droid. And then we have other ships such as this Fanblade Starfighter, which is more of like a Geonosian ship. And then we have a couple of these right here that the Geonosians have, but very well maybe Dooku could get one too. Dooku doesn't have a ship in this game. Why not have him have a ship of some sort? That could be possible if they still want to add piloted ships. And then we have this right here. We already have I believe the Xanadu Blood is based off this model, but the Magna Guard fighter also could have a starship of some sort. So again, this is just the beginning. The Separatist fleet is not nearly as built up as the Galactic Republic just yet, but we have a couple more weeks until the release of Lightside Territory battles, and then we have the time when Grievous's ship becomes available to farm and all that stuff. So guys, stick around if you like ships, and if you like Grievous, just like me. And if you want to try to build up a Separatist fleet, the day will come. Like if you did enjoy the video, comment down below on all your thoughts that we talked about today, the crewless ships, the Separatist ship, the Galactic Republic ships, all that funny shenanigans. And be sure to subscribe so you're not missing a thing. And I'll talk to all of you lovely people in the next video. Peace out, everyone.